So, welcome back. Today we will talk about network models. So, what are the ways in which we can characterize various kinds of networks? Okay. And a picture that you see here is related to small world networks that we will discuss very shortly. So, why do we need network models in the first place? We always like to build models because models help us to generalize, models help us to make predictions about various systems, and we also like to sort of group or classify things that we observe in real life so that we can make generalized predictions about them and so on. So, we would like to create models that mimic real world networks based on some sort of theory, and we want to ideally discover generative models for real world networks based on theoretical principles. Basically, how do we generate these networks? What are the rule? So, let us say you make certain assumptions about how a network is built, and based on these assumptions you go ahead and build a network, right. So, now these networks, if they follow the properties of a real world network, we can start making comparisons on the generative process itself. So, maybe real world networks are also built in this fashion and so on. We will see examples of that very shortly. And we always like to bin our observations into we always like to bin our real world observations or of real world networks into certain canonical groups. Okay, this looks like network of class A. These kinds of networks look like networks of class B. We will see what these possible bins could be. Right? We will talk about random networks, small world networks, power law networks, and so on today. And ultimately, all these help towards our improving our understanding of various kinds of real world networks, and also our ability to analyze or simulate them and predict behaviors, right. So, you can now start testing the vulnerability of real world networks on these models. When are these networks likely to collapse? When are these networks likely to be prone to failure? Right? Or how can you make them more robust? Can you wire them in such a way that you can improve their robustness? So, all these kinds of questions can be captured using network models that we will talk about today. Okay. The first is this very nice model of networks known as the Rényi random networks. So, you may be familiar with the name Erdős from a couple of classes ago when we talked about Erdős number for various mathematicians and so on, and we also looked at the example of Bill Gates. But today let us look at random networks. So, a random network by definition has to have no special nodes, right, meaning every node is going to be equally likely to be connected. There are no special nodes, right. So, there is no way to distinguish one node from another. So, one node cannot have a degree that is so much higher than another node and so on, but it also does not mean that every node has the same degree, right, then it would become a regular lattice or a regular graph. What this means is that the probability of any pair of nodes being connected, the probability of one pair of nodes being connected is not very different from any other pair of nodes. So, if you take a node pair ij, the probability that ij is connected is the same as the probability of ik being connected or pq being connected or xy being connected. It does not matter. You pick any two nodes at random in the network, they are all equally likely to be connected. But that does not mean that they will be connected and so on. It is going to be dependent upon the number of nodes and number of edges that you have and you expect to have in the random network. So, for example, let us start with this simple model. How do you get an ER network with n nodes and m edges? Okay. So, you have a network with n nodes and m edges. So, this is also called G n comma m. Okay. So, consider an example. We are trying to create a node network with n equal to 6 nodes and m equal to 8 edges. So, the total number of possible edges is n into n minus 1 by 2, which is 15, and we have to choose 8 random edges out of all these possible edges. This is one way of generating the graph. This is called a GNM network. You also have a GNP graph where you have n nodes and then you use this probability P of 8, P equals 8 by 15 to generate these graphs. Suppose you generate a graph with 6 nodes, n equal to 6 nodes and p equals 8 by 15. That will also give you a slightly different kind of random graph. Okay. So, how do you generate these graphs in practice? That is something that you have to think. So, a Gn comma m graph has to be generated by sort of sampling random edges from a network. So, you need to have all possible edges and you need to pick from that list using in practice you can use random.choice in Python and so on. I leave it to you, but you have to figure out how to pick. You need an algorithm, you need a random number generator, you need a way to pick a random set of edges from a given set. I have a bunch of edges that are possible and I am going to pick some of them at random. I am going to pick m of them at random. That is one way to do it. The other way is every pair of nodes is going to be given an edge with a probability p. So, that is the Gn comma p model for random networks. How do we do that? That sounds relatively simpler. All you have to do is you have to generate n square random numbers, or let us say n into n minus 1 by 2 random numbers, because you do not have to worry about the rest of it, but you generate a random number for every possible edge in the graph. Right. So, here you have 15 edges, 15 possible edges, n into n minus 1 by 2 is 15. So, 15 possible random numbers you generate and you throw away those of them, those of the edges that correspond to random numbers with a probability greater than 8 by 15. If you do this, you will have a graph where nodes are connected to the probability of 8 by 15. Right. Just stop to think about this. You must have done random numbers in previous courses, and I think that you have to probably go back and look at that. But then now the question for you is that suppose you generated networks using this kind of a model, where I generate edges between pairs of nodes with a probability p, or I pick random m edges out of n choose 2 edges from the graph, either ways, right. So, there are some mild technical differences between the two, but these are both realizations of a random network with n nodes and m edges in one case and roughly m edges in the next case, right. So, expected value of edges, expected number of edges in the second case, in the GNP case, is going to be m. So, given this, how do we understand a little bit more? What is the degree? So, given this, what is the degree distribution going to look like? I already alerted you that it is not going to be uniform. If it is uniform, it is going to be a regular graph. So, this is certainly not going to be uniform, well, unless of course p equals 1. So, when p is smaller, what is the degree distribution going to look like? And that is quite interesting. What we are going to have is a binomial distribution, or which tends to a Poisson distribution in this case. So, why think of this as a coin toss problem, right. So, you always toss a coin and you then assign an edge. Well, in that case it is going to be a p of half, but you can have, like, let us say we have an unfair coin or whatever for various different p values. So, your probability of success is p, and you now have to compute the number of successes. This is because that is going to be the degree distribution, right, because every success is going to give rise to an edge. So, you want the distribution of the number of successes. What is that going to look like when you have a probability of p and you have independent trials? This is going to be binomial, and that is what you see here. So, and this also is in the continuous case it becomes a Poisson distribution. So, node degrees follow a binomial follow a Poisson distribution, where most nodes have approximately the same number of links, meaning one node does not have very high degree compared to the other node, right. So, you do see a big variation here from say 0, 1 to 20 or something like that on the left hand side, but basically you will see cases where the degree distributions can be even more stark, right, like very far apart from each other. And the characteristic path length of these networks is proportional to log of network size. which is log of n, and clustering coefficient of a node with k links is typically found to be independent of k. So, these are all properties of random networks, and the question we always want to ask is, can you use random networks to, can you use any given network to model, any given network model to capture features of real world networks? And well, in this case you find that random networks share an interesting property with real world networks, which is the characteristic path length is quite low. But is this sufficient? So, if you see real world networks, they not only have low characteristic path lengths, but they also exhibit very interesting clustering behavior. And does that happen here? The answer is no. So, which means that this model is limited in its own way. It is useful for many scenarios. This model is useful for many scenarios, basically because you may want to compare against a random network often to see if you have any interesting signal in your real world system. So, it is a classic statistical test, right. So, your null hypothesis is that my network is random, my network is no different from random, and your alternate hypothesis will be that my network has some very specific interesting structure that has emerged through human design or biological evolution or whatever. So, to compare these, you need a random model to compare. So, you can generate an ensemble of random networks based on like a GNP model for that is consistent with the size and number of nodes and edges in your real world network, and then you can compare it with an ensemble of GNP models and then see that, oh, is my characteristic path length higher in my real world network or not, right. So, you can evaluate any set of network properties in the real world networks and compare them with random networks to see if there is a specific signal that you have in the real world network.